And we're live, Bish. What another crazy week in fantasy football. Watched all of Red Zone, watched the game, all the highlights, and another crazy week, Bish, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm still catching up myself. Obviously, I had a game Sunday night, so missed those 6 o'clock games. But some very interesting fantasy scores, both racking 30, 40 points, and then some studs delivering very little as well. So yeah, both ways, some crazy results. Some 70 points to 20 Miami. What a scoreline that is. So, and just looking at our league, some very close finishes as well. A lot of blowouts, but the me versus Tag is very tight at the minute going into Monday night. So yeah, looking forward to the week finishing. Two games tonight to go.
Yeah, I'll load that up actually, Bish. Now you mention it, we'll load the league up. It's a tight one. I think the main close ones are my matchup versus Stocky. I'm predicted to win by only 5 points. And if I look closely here, he's got T. Higgins, which makes me nervous against the young Rams cornerbacks. They've stood up well so far, but I've only got Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith's been brilliant this year, but against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have been pretty good this year, Bish. So what you thinking for me?
Yeah, it's all down to that man Joe Burrow, isn't it? I think, is he available? Is he not available? That has a big bearing on what happens tonight, I believe. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Devonta Smith, that is a Tampa Bay side who have been pretty well defensively stout the last couple of weeks. So that's an interesting one as well. So yeah, I guess we'll know at 1:15 a.m. UK time Monday to see if Joe Burrow's under centre for that first snap.
Yeah, that's what are the reports saying? I think are the reports saying he's playing, because I know the coach wants him to play, but I think
I think there's a bit of everything at the minute. There's I even heard a rumor today that they're thinking of putting him on IR for 4 weeks. So it's I think everything's up in the air. As I said, it's one of those where I don't think it's going to be a long ongoing thing. I think if he does play, but as we said, they've started 0-2. They need some wins. So can they afford to rest him? I don't know. I guess it's a big risk to take.
It is, yeah. Especially like you said, in them their goals to be deep in the playoffs, and with 0-2, I don't think they can afford to rest him. The ideal, if they went 1 for 1, or even if they went 1 for 1, 2 for 0, then you probably would rest him, knowing you're going to make the playoffs, and then from there. But without him being without bad the start's been, I don't know, Bish. I'm nervous for the Bengals this week.
Yeah, it's just a tricky situation. Obviously, you don't want it to be any worse, but it's desperate times, isn't it? 0-2 and against 2 division rivals as well in Cleveland and Baltimore. So, they started slow last year, and they finished strong. And to be fair, we sort of expect the same this year. We know they're going to be there or thereabouts, or they have the talent to be there or thereabouts. It's just a niggling injury that without a long period of rest doesn't really improve. So it's just whether he can manage it, I guess. And Aaron Donald is running after you, and you're on one leg. It's a scary thought.
It is. But Bish, I think that, as you said, you're in the close one. There is 0.11 point. I think I've said that right. 0.11 point between you and Tag's prediction. Take us through it.
It is really close. As I said, I got off the field on Sunday, had a look at my fantasy team, and I was massively disappointed with Lawrence and Ridley. I thought that would reap some more points for me there, but so that's let me down. But yeah, it's tonight. It's down to the wide receivers. I've got Godwin and Puka Nacua, and coming up against Tag, who's got Kyron Williams. So it's Tag's currently got he's got a 10-point lead. I think I'd rather be Tag with a 10-point lead at the minute. So I'm hoping my wide receivers can pull me through, but it's a very tight finish at the top. Someone's zero has got to go.
I like that, Bish. But with how good Pakanakura is, only being predicted 12.8 points after his week so far. I'll just load him up. After his so far, I think you could be in good stead here, Bish. Week 1, 16.9, week 2, 22.6. My money's on you here, Bish.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'd argue the same with Kyron Williams. He's been over 15 points the first 2 weeks. I think his predictions come up. It's up around 12 points, but he's hammered that the last 2 weeks. So yeah, it's going to be a good matchup. The Rams. Let's hope they're throwing it to Puka and not running it or throwing it to Kyron. So that's the goal. And then we've got Godwin in there, who I'm hoping will just be a target monster and get me some good targets and maybe 70, 80 receiving yards. So yeah, it'll be an interesting read tomorrow morning.
It will be. Yeah, just a quick look at Chris Godwin's season so far, and yet, he's not had the best of starts. I think Mike Evans, I can show off because I think, well, no, I can't because he's not in this league. In my other league, Mike Evans is in my team, so I've been very happy so far. But it's like you said, Chris Godwin's talent. You've got to think Chris has got to have his game. Normally they go to for throw, don't they? In previous years, there's normally one good week for one good week for the other, and it could be Chris. Yeah. You'd hope so anyway, Bish. I think with how high of a draft. Well, he wasn't that high draft capital, was he? I think he was.
No, but I think it's got Mike Evans is obviously your deep threat and your touchdown guy, but I'm hoping Darius Slay sticks with him. The Eagles secondaries. They've lost a few pieces since last year, so that might leave a bit of space for Godwin just around the middle of the field just to clean up a little bit. So I'm hoping Baker sees that pass rush coming and is just looking for a nice, easy target in Godwin to, just slowly but surely just creep up with a half PPR points.
Right, Bish, we're into our regular segments that we now do. We'll start off with the injury report. I don't think there's as many this week, is there, Bish? There's not as many injuries, luckily. But there's one major one, and I've stolen him from you. As we were going through it, I stole the big one. It's Mike Williams. All the reports so far, I don't think it's been fully confirmed yet, but the reports are that he's done his ACL and he will be out for the rest of the season. With how good his fantasy season was going, I'm sad for him. He had a brilliant game. It was middle to the fourth quarter there, and they looked awesome. The Chargers obviously probably need him. They've not had the best of starts of the season, but they won the game at the weekend, and I think this is a massive loss. How does this relate in fantasy terms? Obviously, Mike Williams owners will probably be looking who's next, who will be coming up in the waiver report. So we'll save a name for the waiver report. But yeah, it's sad. I'd probably put Keenan Allen even higher. You're looking for a trade if you're trying to be shifty and getting in a trade to someone who may not know the value of an injury like this, may not know Keenan Allen's targets might even get even larger after the amazing season he's been having so far. But yeah, if you're a Keenan Allen fan, don't want to say any good news is any injuries are good news, but I'd say this might be good news because it means you're guaranteed a lot of targets. And and there's a man in the waiver wire who will be coming up, who I'm very excited. I've already wavered him myself.
Oh, interesting. I wonder what price you're going at with him. But yeah, no, it's a big one, like you said. It's a shame, really, because it seems to be the Chargers, especially last year, just having the wide receivers, their options healthy at the same time is sort of hindered them, really. And Mike Williams is that big home run threat, and he was having a great game. I think 120 yards, a touchdown. Touchdown actually from Keenan Allen. So that's an interesting one. But yeah, so it is a big blow for them. Obviously, Herbert's known for his gunslinging. Really, he's got that in him, and that's one weapon. Obviously, that he'll be without for the rest of the year by all reports, accordingly. So yeah, that's a big one for him. And for mine, I've not really, as you said, there's not been much. I had a quick look around, and I was actually watching the late game, the Chiefs. I think they were 31-0 up against the Bears, and just that Mahomes' right ankle again. He's in the pocket, and I think someone swings round and he just rolls his ankle a little bit. So it didn't look too much, to be honest. As I said, they were well in the lead, 31-0 up. He came out not soon after that, and the backup came in. So we'll see how that one goes. Again, it's those ankles. If it's a low ankle sprain, he might be all right. We know what he did last year. He powered through late on in the season with an ankle injury. So picking another one up so early in the season to a mobile quarterback is not ideal. So we'll just have to see how that one goes.
Yeah, in terms of, like you said, in terms of your fantasy outlook, don't think it really changes too much for the Chiefs, to be honest. The wide receiver corps is that wide and varied. That many people get targets. I don't think many people are starting many Chiefs wide receivers other than your flex gamble. Anyway, does it affect Travis Kelce a little bit? Maybe, but I think Travis is that good. If there is a backup quarterback or if Mahomes is struggling, he's looking for one man. And he's looking for Travis Kelce. He probably won't take as many risks going to some of his others. He'll go for his safe bet and play it safe. And I don't think it really has. It might affect the running back situation. Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire being more of the running down back. The rushing. I've said it wrong again. The receiving there at Kansas City. So you might have a flex option in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or be even more confident in Isaiah Pacheco. Bish.
I'm going to throw up another name there as well. I think it really helps Jerick McKinnon. So he's naturally the receiving back. I think he definitely got one touchdown. He might have got two touchdowns, but I think it brings him up. As I said, if that movement's not right with Mahomes, he's just got that little safety valve in McKinnon who he can give it to, and he's a shifty player who can make stuff happen after the catch. So I think it brings him into play a little bit there. So if he's out there, maybe I'm in the wrong segment here, but that's another name to look out for.
Yeah, sorry about that. I named every other running back, but
they've got a few.
Yeah, that was a shocker, but no, thanks for saving me there, Bish. Yeah, Jerick McKinnon, get it on the waiver wire. I don't know if he's mentioned in our waiver wire segment, but perfect time to get him in now, because he'll definitely be one if Mahomes' calf injury keeps happening. But that brings us into the next one, Bish, our fantasy flops of the week, and I think there were quite a few. There were some brilliant games and some brilliant performances, but also a few massive flops. If you don't mind, I'm going to start off with mine. Derrick Henry. He's in my fantasy team. What a disappointment he's been. He actually got out-snapped for people who probably still learning NFL terms. Out-snap means he was stood there as the ball is snapped, being the running back. He actually got out-snapped by Ty J. Spears. Am I pronouncing that right, Bish?
I think so.
Ty J. Spears, and that's crazy. A player of Derrick Henry's caliber, or what we perceived is his caliber for this year, it's a shocking and nervous indictment. And only 2 fantasy points on 20 rushing yards. It's not looking good for Derrick Henry owners. And I'm one of them, and I'm very nervous, Bish. Give me some hope. Give me something.
The only thing I'd say is he did come up against a very strong Cleveland Browns defense. Myles Garrett has had an unbelievable start to the season, recorded 3.5 sacks in this game. And in the lead, I think it got out of hand. They were chasing the game quite a bit. So I think that's something to maybe matchup dependent. Hopefully he can bounce back. But that's actually his lowest fantasy score since week 5, 2017. So that's a stat by Fantasy Pros on that one. So that's going back a fair few years there. So it shows you how low that score was.
Yeah, to be honest though, Bish, I think this is for the second week in a row he's been outsnapped by Ty J. Spears. I'm nervous as an owner, very nervous as an owner. And like I said, there will be matchups throughout the year that do benefit him. I'm sure he'll get 250, 200 yards. He doesn't. But I think with how high you draft Derrick Henry, it should be what you call matchup proof, that it doesn't matter who you play. I know in previous years, I think I've had him in my previous years, he's guaranteed minimum 8-10 points because he just rushes that many times. They don't really have much of an offense after they traded AJ Brown away. And it's been all Derrick Henry, and to say he's only getting 2, it makes me nervous as out because I could have drafted many other players in his spot, and it's
I think with him as well, it's something to look at is how the team manage him. As we know, he's one of those workhorses for many years. He's knocking on a bit, but if you look at that division, they probably need him at the later end of the season. You know, we thought Jaguars might run away with this division, and they've stuttered. So I think it's all open at the minute, and they're probably managing him a little bit. I think to make sure that he makes it through to the end of the year. So yeah, not ideal for fantasy owners.
no.
Maybe it's I don't know, sit tight, or maybe you can trade him for someone who you think's a bit of value, maybe a Josh Jacobs or someone along those lines.
I don't know. I think I'd struggle. I own both of them. I think I'd struggle. I don't know who would you trade if you were a Derrick Henry owner? Who would you trade for? Who would you be happy? Let's say I give you an offer. Who would you be happy giving away for Derrick Henry, Bish?
It'd have to be someone in a similar position that wasn't performing at the minute. Off the top of my head, I can only think of possibly Josh Jacobs in there. In that caliber, unless someone's looking at maybe 2 players for 1, and you're looking at a sort of a running back 2 value, picking up a wide receiver 2 as well. So yeah, it's a tough one. I think maybe is it too early to take a gamble? Do you need some wins? Someone like Zach Moss, who's been on fire.
Possibly.
Someone like that who's guaranteed, again, another workhorse running back who's guaranteed the backfield. So yeah, it's a tough one for Derrick Henry owners. I think, to be honest, I think this early you've got to sit tight, haven't you? So, and hopefully ride it out.
Yeah, Bish, who's your?
So I'm in the running back department as well, and I'm looking at Joshua Kelly here from the Chargers. We knew this would be a points fest. We knew it'd be a lot of throwing, but Joshua Kelly's come in there and he's pulled up. He's delivered 12 yards off 11 carries, and one reception for 5 yards. Obviously filling the boots of Austin Eckler, who's a points machine. He's just not delivered. And, those who probably picked him up on waivers thinking they could stick him in there as a plug and play and pick up some points. They've had a nightmare this week with him. So I'm many are hoping that Eckler's back soon, I guess.
Yeah, to be honest, when I first started my fantasy football year, I think it was 2019. He was the backup for Eckler. He's been the backup for Eckler a couple of years, and he got in and he got a run of 2 games, and he didn't look good then. I know he was known for fumbling back then, dropped a load of balls, and throughout the years he's been getting better. And then, watched him a lot yesterday. Well, I didn't watch him a lot, but when he did pop up, he wasn't good. He wasn't good at all. And like you said, Joshua Kelly, someone who's getting pretty much every snap as the running back in that offense, and that is not. Does not look good at all. Eckler fans will be rejoicing that Eckler's workload once he comes back isn't going to get diminished at all by Josh Kelly comeback, because it's not happening. And I think there'll be a lot of panic going on in the Chargers running back room right now, because if Eckler's not back quickly, they might have to look elsewhere, Bish.
Yeah, well, I think that they have an early buy, the Chargers. So I think there's, I've seen some reports where he's going to be the sort of building Eckler back to be back after the buy, which is his buy's week 5, so back week 6. So obviously that's still another 3 fantasy weeks away. So yeah, there's if you are an Eckler owner, that's you're hoping he's going to be back sooner than that, I guess, because otherwise, again, you've got another first, second round pick on your team who's not contributing.
Yeah, and then my next fantasy flop, Bish, I've gone another player that I have some value in my fantasy teams, Darren Waller. I was really high on Darren Waller pre-season. I was excited. I thought, all the reports were that he were looking unbelievable, and it's It's not happened, and this is not a flop for this week. This is a flop for his whole season so far. Bit harsh from me, to be fair. Now I've said it. But I think, it's not happening. He got 3.5 fantasy points. It's just not happening, Bish, is it? Daniel Jones doesn't look like the quarterback that got paid all them millions. Like you said, Joshua Dobbs, there's loads of quarterbacks on a lot less money than Daniel Jones, and he just don't look that good out there, Bish. And I know in previous years I've never been that high on him, but he had an okay year last year. And please give us some insight on, is there hope for Darren Waller?
Well, you'd like to think so, because he is the biggest. Now that Barkley's out there, he's the biggest target there is. The most mismatch there is on the field. And I don't know, is it the O-line? Obviously, they massively overachieved last year, and we're seeing a bit of regression now. But yeah, it's tough times at the minute for him. Waller, it's generally fitness. Can he be on the field? He's been on the field and he's just been, just not contributing. Whether that's him or Jones, we're not sure. But again, for those owners of him, they're going to need some improvements pretty fast, really.
Yeah, he's it's sad. It's sad. Daniel Jones isn't the quarterback. I'll say it now. This is a tough opinion. I don't think he's that quarterback. I don't think he deserved all that money. But because he has got the big contract, it means he's not leaving anytime soon. And this it might be a season long. I just don't see that upside there, especially when Saquon comes back, because he's been off for a game or so now, and it's not happening, is it? It's just not happening. The offense isn't flowing. So I think they're just going to look to Saquon more and more, and that could be might open things up for Darren Waller. It could just keep him at his low fantasy, low usage already. So again, nervous Darren Waller owners out there, and I don't know where you go. I don't know if he's got any trade value, Bish.
I don't think so. Again, who's going to take him on? I would say though that there is some sort of streamers you can get out there, tight ends that you could pick up and potentially plug in, as on the waiver wire. I know I've spoke up Hunter Henry in leagues before. He had a down week this week, but he's been pretty good the first 2 weeks. So I think if you look through your waiver wire, you'll be able to pick some up week dependent who've got a decent matchup. Again, with most of them, it's a dart throw really, but you're just looking for that upside. If they can jag a touchdown, that's all you need really. So yeah, that's a tough one. And my second one, it's a bit different. I'm actually going with a head coach on this one. I'm going with Josh McDaniels here, and I'll sort of set the scene. So they're down by 8 points, 2 minutes to go in the game. I'm looking at my notes now. I'm not excited. I've lost where I am. But yeah, on the 8 points down. We under 2 minutes to go, and on the 8-yard line, so they're 8 meters away from scoring, and it's 4th and 4. So obviously, if they score a touchdown, that's 6 points. They get the 2-point attempt, whether they get that or not. If they get it, they tie the game. They still need a field goal to win. If they don't get it, they still need a field goal to win anyway. So they've chose to kick a field goal here, being 8 points down. So that means they have to get the ball back, and then they still have to score a touchdown. Whether that's from 98 meters or, it's going to be a lot further than the 8 yards that they are now. So for me there, I think he's absolutely killed Devontae Adams, who had a monster game, 2 touchdowns, 130 plus. Jacoby Myers had 85 yards. Josh Jacobs, it's 4th and 4, but, he had some receptions in the game. So for me, I think he's robbed someone of... I'm going to say at least 6 points for a touchdown there, in a weird situation where it just doesn't make sense if you're trying to win the game to kick a field goal instead of trying to get the touchdown. I don't know, Joe. Am I looking at it wrong? I'm not sure.
I believe did he quote something like he had to do the 3 point. He did some crazy thing like it's like he didn't know the 2-point conversion. It's like he didn't know that was a thing. It's like he had a brain part and he forgot the 2-point conversions. A thing you can do. And in the NFL, it's not too uncommon to see them now. I know there was quite a few attempts even at the weekend of 2-point conversions. Some come off, some don't. But it was crazy that he said he had to do the field goal. It made no sense. And when you've got such a target like Devontae Adams there and Josh Jacobs as a running back, you surely have confidence in doing a 2-point conversion when you've got two of the hottest, like I said, the running back, where they'll be panicking about him rushing through, and then you've got a target like Adams, which his catches are phenomenal, and as long as you throw him, as long as you get it in that direction, yeah. Crazy Bish, no hope. I think in future you're nervous for the Raiders. I believe a bit harsh on, but I don't. I think you've got to be nervous as the season goes on that their upsides are just going to be capped by some crazy coaching decisions. I guess I don't think there's any other way to put it.
I'm going to throw one out there here. I think Devontae Adams gets traded. I think a team will come in for him. A team with Super Bowl aspirations, because I just don't see it at the Raiders. I just don't. He's the only thing against him is his age. Obviously, I think he's at least 30 now. He's and there's sort of a bit of a wide receiver cliff at 30 plus. You sort of see a dip, but I don't understand for me there, the coach just has no confidence in the offense. I just don't get it. So yeah, it was a weird one for me.
Yeah, no other way to put it. Bish, watch it, crazy decision, and I think you've summed it well. Something a bit more positive. Bish's breakouts. Bish, start us off. Who was your breakout player of the week?
This is a tough one. Obviously, what Miami have done is unreal. So, I've actually got three names here. And again, because it's my section, I'm going to bend the rules. Rules are there to be bent. So I'm going to give it to the Dolphins backfield. Raheem Mostert is the starter, coming in with 142 total yards, 4 touchdowns, and then just when you think he's gone out the game and we'll have a rest, I tell you what, we'll bring in the rookie, Devon A-Chain, and he'll go for 203 rushing yards, 30 receiving yards, and he'll score 4 touchdowns as well. It's just unbelievable. I saw a photo after the game, and I love it. There's 6 Broncos defenders on the floor, and there's just A-Chain running off in the distance. I think it's a joint effort for me. That Miami attack is just unreal at the minute. Just absolute speed all over the field, and they did all that without Jalen Waddle as well, who was out with concussion. So, the running back tandem of A-Chain and Mostert are my stars of the week.
I like it, Bish. I think for fantasy, again, this might come up later, so I'll not get too deep. But I think it makes Devon A-Chain in good matchups for Miami where they're playing bad defenses. I think that makes him a flex. I think that makes him a confident flex start, Bish, on how fast he looked, how powerful he had everything. I think fantasy owners, it will come up in a minute, but get him on your team and you can confidently start him if they play one of the bad defenses in the league. And obviously, Mostert, it just gives you even more confidence. He got slaughtered a bit, Bish, didn't he, pre-season? They didn't realise why they're not trading for someone like Jonathan Taylor, and showing them why. Got that elite speed. The whole offense is just absolute carnage in speed wise, and no one can stop him.
And just going back to our punt league, I've had an absolute shocker. I've actually traded away Mostert. I traded away Mostert to Isaac for Chris Godwin, but reason being is, like you said, with Mostert, he's had a few injury riddled years, and I just wasn't sure whether it'd last. So it's but if it can last, he is a home run hitter, as we've seen. He's got unbelievable speed, and now they've got a backup ready to go with the same amount of speed and power as well. So it's very frightening for teams facing that backfield at the minute.
Yeah, amazing. My one, Bish, again, on the backfields, I've got Zach Moss, but this is a one-man backfield. Zach Moss looks unbelievable, 122 yards and a receiving touchdown. Obviously, replacing Jonathan Taylor at the Colts. We don't know what's going to happen with JT, but they'll be missing him, but not as much now that Zach Moss has exploded as good as he has, Bish. think in previous years at the Bills, he never quite got that role solidified, did he, behind Devin Singletary? But he's doing his best to keep his career going in the NFL by having such an outstanding week. I don't really know what to say about this because he's getting every snap. I think obviously this was the Jonathan Taylor role. I don't think they planned for a backup in Indianapolis. I think they were happy with JT taking all the offense, and obviously him now not playing, they had to get someone in there. And Zach Moss has just rock and rolled and dominated that backfield. And he's, again, reiterate, he's taking every snap. He still will be available on a couple of waiver wires, so just check. Probably won't, but there'll be a couple of leagues that haven't picked him up yet because of his, obviously, his last few years at Buffalo, and obviously Jonathan Taylor possibly coming back. So have a look if he's not there. If he is there in the waiver wire, go pick him up or trade for him, or because he'll have value for at least the next 3 or 4 weeks until Jonathan Taylor sorts himself out. But Bish, I don't know if JT's even coming back this year.
I don't think he is, not to the Colts anyway. I think it's Moss's backfield, and he's even catching passes now as well. You know, he scored a nice touchdown, unbelievable, pretty good catch on the contested catch on the sideline as well. So he is the running back in Indianapolis. So yeah, definitely one to get hold of, and I think he's even matchup proof, to be honest. You know, I've got him in one league and I didn't start him because of that Ravens defense, and you know, he absolutely blew them to bits. So I think he is matchup proof just because of the volume he's getting, and it just shows, I think, as well how good that offensive line is that they have over there in Indy. So yeah, definitely one to, if you can get him, definitely try and grab him.
Yeah. Bish, who's your
my runner-up is Keenan Allen. You know, we spoke earlier in the show, Mike Williams going down, but Keenan Allen, he is one. I do like him. I've liked him for years. Just how good he is. You know, again, another wide receiver who struggled with injuries, but at the minute he's unbelievable. 18 receptions, 215 receiving yards, and he's even throwing touchdowns now. He threw a passing touchdown to Mike Williams for 49 yards as well. So, you know, Justin Herbert, if you need a breather, it's all right. You've got Keenan Allen there. So, yeah, he's going to need to be like this for the next few weeks, I think. As I said, Mike Williams is out. The Chargers defense, I'm not sure what's going on there. You know, the if you look at the names on that defense, you know, your Bosa's, your Max, your Derwin James, JC Jacksons, and it's like Minnesota last year we spoke about. They're just a sieve. There's holes everywhere. So the offense is going to need to keep that scoreboard ticking, and I think Keenan Allen's your man for that.
Yeah, and like I said, especially with Mike Williams possibly gone for the season, we've gone over it earlier. Keenan Allen, that just shoots him through the roof. So yeah, Keenan Allen owners, well done. And I think the success might carry on all season long. Injury aside, Bish, touch wood. I'm on a nice little wood table. I'm touching it.
Nice.
Everything's good for Keenan Allen. My second one is someone who got slaughtered in the preseason. I think I watched some other podcasts with people who like watching the podcast. He's been taken the piss out of as an old man. He can't move very quickly. He looks rubbish last year on the Minnesota Vikings. He's now changed team and he looks fantastic. It's Adam Thielen. He got 11. I really built that up, didn't I? 11 catches for 145 yards and a touchdown, Bish. He looks good. He looks like he's fighting for his place in the league. He looks like he wants to shut the naysayers up. And yeah, I think Adam Thielen owners, if there is any that are rostering him, you're looking good and you're feeling happy, Bish. I don't know what you've got to say, but
I think the big one is here. It was the quarterback. Obviously, they've drafted Bryce Young. He was out, and he's supposed to be out for next week as well. So it was the wily veteran Andy Dalton who was quarterbacking, and a quarterback who's been around, got that experience, and another wide receiver again who's been around and got that experience, and yeah, it seemed to work well. I was praying that he didn't find him for a touchdown because I was up against him in a league, and that garbage time touchdown and yards has finished me off in one matchup. But yeah, it seems to be definitely the target for Andy Dalton. And it's a weird situation there with Bryce Young. I think he rolled his ankle, so he looks quite lightweight. So, and Andy Dalton's been coming in and taking snaps in certain games as well. So, yeah, I think as long as Andy Dalton's there, I think he'll be finding feeling.
Yeah, brilliant. Bish, take us through your fourth. It's technically your fourth, Bish, isn't it? Oh no, your third. Your third. My counting skills are phenomenal.
Oh no, that were it because I put two into one, didn't I? Put the two running backs into So
all right.
yeah,
All good. Yeah. Oh, the next one, Bish, the waiver wire pickups. As I said, this is one that I've been having a look at, but joining on from what we said earlier about the Mike Williams injury, I think this shoots Joshua Palmer up the leagues completely. He's looked good. He did well last year in targets when both wide receivers were injured, and I think he's going to be the replacement for Mike Williams. And he's only rostered in 0.7% of leagues. That's in ESPN leagues. So get yourself Joshua Palmer on that waiver wire. I believe he's available in ours as well, Bish, isn't
he is. Yeah, I'm just looking now. Yeah, he is.
A lot of I reckon there'll be a lot of fab, as it's called, the money spent on getting Joshua Palmer in that league. I think he's a safe flex bet, Bish, but I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I agree. As we said, they need to throw to score points. So they've got Keenan Allen. Eckler's obviously missing at the minute. Williams is gone for the season. They need other options there. So it's Everett can eat up his game as being a tight end, but I think it's Josh Palmer. He come in. He had 66 receiving yards and for a touchdown as well. So I think he's going to be involved. So yeah, I think that's a good pickup. I think there's a few this week, to be fair. So to narrow it down, we could be here a while going through them, but we narrow it down to two each. And I'm on the wide receiver train as well. I'm actually going with the Houston Texans wide receiver Tank Dell, who's also available in our league. I spoke in previous about Nico Collins being Stroud's sort of favourite wide receiver. Well, in the last 2 weeks, Tank Dell has just totally made me look stupid, to be honest. So in the last 2 weeks, he's had 17 targets, 10 last week, 7 this week. And this week he went off for 145 receiving yards. So, I thought it'd be Nico Collins, but it looks like it's Tank Dell. And against in a Texans team that we thought might be trailing often in games, I think he's a great pickup if he's out there. I'd definitely go get him if he's available. What do you think, Joe? Would you be leaning if you had to? Who are you spending more fab on, Tank Dell or Josh Palmer?
I'm going with Josh Palmer, to be honest. I think Mike Williams not being there for a whole season means he's guaranteed for a full year. Nico Collins is going to get action, and I think he's more the touchdown threat. Obviously, Tank Dell got a touchdown, but I think Nico Collins is that big body who they'll look for in the red zone. I think it fits game script. Tank Dell is the explosive wide receiver who they're looking deep because they need them points quickly. Might continue throughout the year, but I think you've got that guarantee in Josh Palmer. I think Tank Dell's going to keep on having the big weeks every so often, but I think Josh Palmer as a flex or wide receiver 2 is going to be a safe bet throughout the year from this point onwards. So if you need the upside, Tank Dell, Bish, but if you need, let's say you're a Mike Williams owner, you need that replacement in there. I'm safely going Josh Palmer's going to get me the points required to have a good run at this year's fantasy league.
Nice. That's why you sat top of the league, eh, Joe?
I'm flying. My second waiver wire pickup would be Devon Achane. This is for the opposite reason as Joshua Palmer, more on the Tank Dell. His upside on games where, like I said, I said it earlier, where the defense isn't going to be that strong. It's just ginormous. 200, like you said, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. He's a great receiving running back, which I don't think Mostert's really known for his receiving. So he's got that guaranteed in the receiving work. Jeff Wilson's not an amazing receiver either. I think the boat, and if he does, is Josh Wilson coming back this year? Is he out for the year?
I'm not sure. I think did they put him on season-ending IR? I'm not sure. I'll have to. I'll look into that now as you're going on.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, so if Jeff Wilson isn't coming back for a while, Devon A-Chain's he might even turn into a safe bet because he's getting that receiving work, and we know obviously in PPR leagues, which is half PPR, Bish, or is it a full PPR?
Yeah, it's half PPR.
It's still very good. Full PPR, it's amazing. So I think you need to pick up Devon A-Chain. I think he's shown this week that the talent's there. He's a rookie, so that means his workload will more than likely go up and up and up. And that receiving work with Tua Tagovailoa under centre is just going to be fantastic. And I think he just looks good. Basically, he passes. I go a lot off the eye test. I love my stats, but I'm an eye test man, and he passes every test I've seen. Watching him, he just looks phenomenal, and he's got a bit more strength about him than Mostert. Mostert's just a speed demon. Probably a better way of describing it, but he's just speed. A-Chain's got that speed, but he's got the power with it, and he can catch a ball like not many other running backs can. So I'm all over Devon A-Chain, and he's already picked up. I've already, like I said earlier, put him in my fab, spent some fab on him, and I'm hoping I'll get Devon.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's one of the backs that I liked coming out of college and what he did in the combine. Just looking at Jeff Wilson, Jeff Wilson's available from week 5, so you're only on short pup. While you were talking, I was just checking the league fab and seeing how much you had available. Obviously, you're looking at Palmer, you're looking at A-Chain this week, but you've not spent any yet, so you're at 100, so you've got plenty to throw out there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mike, go on.
Oh, sorry, Bish. I dived in there, but yeah, I said last week I struggled to get really a waiver wire. I didn't really know. None of them screamed out to me. Well, these two, Joshua Palmer and Devon A-Chain, are screaming out to me, and I'm gonna spend.
Oh, a big spender. There we go. I like it. And I'm doubling on my second one. I'm doubling up with the Texans here. That and it's a team. Sorry, it's a quarterback, CJ Stroud. A lot of people play one quarterback league, so the quarterback, there's a lot to choose from. But I think he's a good, possibly streamer option. Sort of matchup dependent. A bit about him, he looked like he was going number 1 overall in the draft, and then he had I think he didn't do very well in an IQ test that they generally use, and that dropped his draft stock a little bit. So Bryce Young actually went 1 overall rather than he did. But I've liked him. He's come in and he's looked really good. The last 2 weeks he's gone for 280 yards. And then the week just gone, where they absolutely did a number on the Jaguars, he's thrown for 384 yards, 2 touchdowns in both games, and in our league, half PPR, he's scored 2 games over 20 points there. So it's a very good score, over 20 points. So I think he's one sort of, if you've not got one of the elite top dogs, he's definitely one where you could probably bring into your bench and sort of rotate with your starter depending on matchups, really. So yeah, I've been impressed with him. What do you think, Joe, to the Texans and to CJ Stroud?
Shock how good they've been, to be honest. I didn't have much hope for them throughout the year, and they're proving me wrong. They've played some brilliant football. CJ Stroud, as you said, I think the way I can explain your one in it is just, disagree with me, but it wasn't even consideration for me. You know what I mean? Be one that was that far off even getting roasted or even looking as a streamer, because I don't pick quarterbacks very high ever. So I do use the streaming quarterback option. He wasn't even a thought, but he now is for me. And I won't be picking him up this week probably because I've got other fab to spend. But if he's available in future, when I pick him up in a future week, I'll definitely be picking him up, and I'll definitely be using him more confidently than I ever would before, because he's gone from a no option to a like you said, a pretty confident option when the time comes, dependent on matchup. So fair play, CJ Stroud, you're proving the IQ test is wrong.
Yeah, and he's, to be fair, I'm sat with Trevor Lawrence at the minute, who's they've been a bit of underperforming the Jaguars, so it's one I'm looking at with a bit of interest, to be honest. Next week is probably not the right week for me. He's got Pittsburgh, so that might be coming up against TJ Watt and co. That might be a tough one for him, but it's one to keep an eye on. Well, I'll certainly keep an eye on him, see how he goes, and if those 20+ games are racking up and T-Law's still underperforming, it might be a move that I make.
Yeah, Bish, let's finish off. The name of our show, our favourite segment, I believe, the punters. It makes me laugh every time. It's the punters, the best kicker of the week. I like to look forward, so I'm going simply Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. And one reason only. He's a safe bet. That offense is that powerful that you're going to get a guaranteed 4, 5, 6 extra point kicks anyway. I think you've got that floor. You talk floors and you talk ceilings. For a kicker to have a floor as high as Jason Sanders, I think you've got to pick him up. He's not only a streamer that you just pick week on week. I think you get him in for the rest of the year because he's confidently going to be 5 points in. Some kickers don't get any points. Some kickers get 1 point and you panic and they might miss. And whether he misses or not, you're getting 4 or 5 points, and that's what you. For me, that's what I want from my kicker. I'm not looking for massive upside. I'm looking for some consistency from somewhere, which you rarely get. So get Jason Sanders in your team if he's available.
Nice, I like it. And my kicker, what I'm looking for in a kicker, I'm looking for field goals out of my kicker. I'm looking for the 3 points. I'm looking for those. And my pick this week is a record breaker. It's Matt Gay from the Indianapolis Colts. He's the first kicker to kick 4 50+ yard field goals in one game. In this game, one came in the last 2 minutes to tie the game, and then the winner came in overtime to give the Colts what is a shock win, against the Ravens. So, Matt Gay, you are my kicker of the week. Long may it continue.
Brilliant, Matt. What a pick. What a record. Brilliant. Well, Bish, been a pleasure. Good luck over the next night. So, wish you all the best in your game against Tag. I've been getting stuck into tagging his team, so I'm hoping you win. I can keep.
Yeah.
So good luck, Bish.
Thank you. Yeah, I need those bragging rights. So we'll see how it goes.
And Bish, look at my bank after this next few days because it will be gone because my stream will get picked up. Been a pleasure, Bish. Finish us off.
Yep. Like, subscribe, check out everything we've got: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. We're all over it. So fantasy content is coming. We'll be back later on in the week with I think some flex options that we want your opinion on. So yeah, also a possible live stream. So any questions, let's get them in. Let's get talking fantasy and see if we can help you win some matchups and win some trophies.
Looking forward to it, Bish. Especially like you said, picking them flex positions is so key in fantasy. So yeah, any questions, get them in. Let all the Punt viewers have a good week. See you soon.
Signing off.